So today we will discuss about map design and vector tile services using Mapbox. As we know, there are three service models in cloud computing: infrastructure as a service, which is the fundamental layer; platform as a service, which falls under the infrastructure; and software as a service, which falls under the platform. So here software as a service will be used for mapping and GIS. With software as a service, the end user doesn't have to install the software or configure or code anything. The software is accessed directly through web browser from the cloud. The cloud hardware is maintained itself or leased from the service provider, with all the details of the backend architecture hidden from the end user. So software as a service is gaining popularity in the GIS industry because it saves the people from hassle of installing and administering complex software. This is a boon for industries that want to use maps for spatial data processing but may not have the hardware or person to fully deploy GIS on site. As software as a service runs in a web page and needs to access over many devices, its design is also streamlined compared to more complex desktop GIS software interfaces. It is an excellent way for beginners to learn GIS mapping and design techniques, although it should be kept in mind that the features offered by the software as a service may be limited as compared to the locally installed software, that is from desktop GIS. SaaS or software as a service is also an attractive way to do GIS because certain elements of functionality can be purchased on an add-on basis. As on when required, we can purchase that toolbox. For example, companies who need to host just one or two spatial data sets, they as web services, they can do so without having to spend a lot of money upon their own GIS server. Mapbox services and vector tiles. So what is Mapbox? Mapbox is a company headquartered in Washington DC, USA, and it provides location mapping services such as geocoding, online base map hosting, routing, image processing, and web app mapping application programming interface. So an application programming interface is a way for two or more computer programs to communicate with each other. It is a type of software interfaces offering a service to other pieces of software. As for example, if we use the NV software for mapping, and also with the help of NV, we can install or interface another software for radar data processing, that is Sarscape. So we cannot install Sarscape directly. Sarscape has to be interfaced with NV. Without NV, we cannot run Sarscape. And from the Sarscape, we can use for microwave data processing analysis, that is for differential synthetic aperture radar interferometry, which gives us about the surface deformation maps, and also from the synthetic aperture radar interferometry, which helps us to prepare digital elevation model. So that has to be interfaced with NV software. Mapbox has made waves in the geospatial software industry by offering a unique blend of cloud technologies, map delivery, and open source utilities. Mapbox can market itself as a mapping platform for developers. It does not offer any desktop GIS based software, but its services are seem to be aimed at journalists, for full-time web and mobile app developers, and organizations looking for alternative to other cloud-based GIS products. The vector data in Mapbox maps comes largely from OpenStreetMapping, which is a free geographic database for road mapping. We can get the road map for the entire world from the OpenStreetMap, which is designed with the help of Leaflet or the JavaScript. Mapbox mapping services rely heavily on the vector tile approach because, as we said, that Mapbox comes largely from OpenStreetMap, so it provides the vector data, that is a linear feature, the road network for the entire world. And its packets of the vector coordinates are sent to the client services which are drawn. The tiles use a pyramid mode similar to that of the rasterized tiles created with the ArcGIS server, but they contain vector coordinate information rather than images. As for example, from the USGS, we can download Landsat data or LIS3 data or AVHRR data. That means they are all raster. But from the OpenStreetMap, we can download the vector data, which is both are with a cloud-based approach. An advantage of this approach is that vector tiles can be restyled quickly without having to remake all the tiles, since the data is decoupled from the drawing rules. Mapbox will offer several cartographic products for designing map style and making tiles. And unlike ArcGIS Online, Mapbox does not offer web services for performing vector spatial operations such as buffering, intersection, etc. But Mapbox is created from open source JavaScript library called turf.js. JS is the JavaScript. But from ArcGIS Online, we can perform both the raster operations as well as the vector operations. Next is about called thematic mapping services. So what is thematic mapping? A thematic mapping is an exhibition of the spatial pattern of certain theme or a series of dimensions. Unlike the reference maps, which usually demonstrate a number of geographic features such as roads, political boundaries, forests, thematic maps trace on variations in space of a single or a group of geographic dispersion. Suppose if we want to prepare flood hazard mapping or landslide hazard mapping, we have to integrate the various themes or thematic layers. For landslide hazard, we have to integrate geology map, geomorphology map, soil map, land use land cover map, slope map, aspect map, curvature map, drainage density map, lineament density or distance to lineament, distance to drainage, road density. Even for the flood hazard, we have to integrate this, and also we have to include the rainfall data or the runoff. So all these themes, these are all thematic layers, and each theme has been classified into various classes. And so this suppose for the geology map is spatially distributed among the study area with various classes. So that it will be classified into various rock types that may be phyllite or maybe gneiss or sandstone or shale. It depends upon the area. Similarly, for the geomorphological map, we have for the spatial coverage of the geomorphological features of the various type of landforms in a particular area, and it has been classified into various classes like karst landform, volcanic landforms, glacial, snow cover, like these various thematic layers. So this is called as a thematic mapping, and its services, it provides a unique way of representation of data for the specific use of comparison among different data. And thematic mapping services serves three main purposes: to facilitate the provision of specific information pertaining to particular location, to facilitate the provision of general information about patterns of different space, and the thematic mapping services can be used as a tool of comparison of the patterns on number of maps. So different type of themes that can be created are as ranges, pie charts, individual, graduated, dot density. So ranges, this theme splits the data on the number of ranges, and the color is assigned based on what you specify to us for each of the specific range units. Pie charts, with the specification type of charts, the theme generator makes a pie which consists of specific fields containing an unit of the pie. The sort of themes are mostly used for the comparison of values and observations and share of the particular field in the whole group. Individual, this theme creates individual value which is provided as a unique color. This is usually done to find small values among large set of data. Graduated, these themes are created out of one symbol which is selected by the user. This particular symbol is represented in different sizes to correspond with the value. And dot density, this theme is a collection of dots which is the representative of a value, and the number of dots given establishes the value represented. So for the thematic mapping process, we have to follow 5 steps, that is requirement analysis, preparation for mapping, thematic mapping, quality check, and delivery. So requirement analysis, we have to get in touch with the client for what is the requirements for mapping the thematic layers, and we have to communicate with the client. As they gain a complete understanding of what requirement, it